Happy Tuesday, everybody. It's your favorite manager of community and media relations for the Fayetteville Woodpeckers, Victoria Huggins. So happy to have you joining us for episode 15 of Storytime at Home with the Woodpeckers. Can you believe that we've had 15 Tuesdays together? Quite the milestone, actually. So thank you for continuing to support your favorite hometown baseball team. We are thankful for your support. We're thankful for your encouragement and always filling our news feeds with such positivity and support. So thank you for keeping us positive, because we miss you so very much and we can't wait to see you soon. Thank you for your support, especially with our chicken sale that we hosted at Seger Stadium. It was a massive success, and to be able to make sure that our community had fresh chicken from Mount Air Farms of North Carolina. We're grateful for their partnership in that project to be able to, combat that situation. There are so many people who are trying to make sure that they have food on the table and provide for their families right now during this difficult situation with COVID-19. So I'm glad that we were able to do that together for our community, because community is the most important aspect of the Fayetteville Woodpeckers, in my opinion. I mean, I am a little bit biased since I'm the manager of community and media relations, but anyway, that's another tangent. I do want to remind you guys, make sure that you are following us on all of our social media platforms, because on Friday, guess what happens? That's right, another episode of the Woodpeckers podcast, the official podcast of all things Fayetteville Woodpeckers. Our fabulous voice of the Woodpeckers, Matt Dean, is going to be bringing on some very special guests. I hope you've been enjoying listening to that. So you never know who he is going to have on the podcast. So mark your calendar for every Friday. And we're thrilled that we're seeing our boys doing so well at Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas for training camp with the Astros. So go former Woodpeckers. We hope to see them on that field when MLB starts back up. It can't start soon enough for all of us, because we're ready for baseball to be back. Am I right? Yes, I know I'm not the only one. It's so good to see everybody on Instagram and on Facebook. Thank you so much. All right, so it's time for our story. Well, you can't truly have story time without one particular character, and I feel so much love for this character. When I was in kindergarten, my kindergarten teacher in St. Paul's was Miss Riddle, and the nickname that she gave to me for being in her class, and I was always a ball of energy and always wanted to read and be a big helper, she called me her Tigger. So you know what that means. We're going to be reading Winnie the Pooh, Pooh Bear. So everyone gather around the screens, however you're watching. We love seeing the pictures that you guys send in to us of all of the kiddos gathered around the Apple TV, where you have projected story time up on your TV so that they could see it like that, or even watching it on the iPads or any type of digital device. So go ahead and gather around as a family wherever you may be, and let's read together Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh, A Tight Squeeze, presented by Walt Disney and written by A. Milne. Oops, got ahead of myself here. Edward Bear, known to his friends as Winnie the Pooh, or Pooh for short, was walking through the forest one day, humming proudly to himself. He had made up a little hum that very morning as he was doing his stoutness exercises in front of the glass. Tra-la-la, tra-la-la, as he stretched up as high as he could go, and then tra-la-la, tra-la-la-lo, oh, help, la, as he tried to reach his toes. Okay, boys and girls, let's try that. Let's reach up high, tra-la-la, tra-la-la, ooh, and then let's go down to our toes, tra-la-la, tra-la-la, oh, all the way down. Very good. After breakfast, he had said it over and over to himself until he learned it off by heart. And now he was humming it right through properly. It went like this. Tra-la-la, tra-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la-la-la, rum-tum, tiddle-dum-tum, tiddle-dee-dee, 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 rum-dum-dum, tiddle-dee-dum. I know that wasn't exactly right, but I was trying to make it musical. Okay. Well, he was humming his hum to himself and walking along gaily, wondering what everybody else was doing and what it felt like being somebody else, when suddenly he came to a sandy bank, and in the bank was a large hole. Do you all see the hole? What does that board say? Is that Rabbit's house? Oh my goodness. Aha, said Pooh. Rum-tum, diddle-um-tum. If I know anything about anything, that hole means rabbit, he said. And rabbit means company. And company means food and listening to me. Is that what you think about when you think about company? I certainly do love eating with my friends. And I certainly love talking to them. So maybe Pooh is on point here. And company is rum-tum-tum-tiddle-dum. So he bent down, put his head in the hole, and called out, "Is anybody home?" There was a sudden scuffling noise from inside the hole, and then silence. What I said was, "Is anybody at home?" called out Pooh very loudly. "No," said a voice, and then added, "You needn't shout so loud. I heard you quite well the first time." "Oh, bother," said Pooh. "Isn't there anybody here at all?" "Nobody." It sure does sound like somebody. Winnie the Pooh took his head out of the hole and thought for a little, and he thought to himself, there must be somebody there, because somebody must have said nobody. So he put his head back into the hole and said, "Hello, Rabbit, isn't that you?" "No," said Rabbit in a different sort of voice this time. "But isn't that Rabbit's voice?" "I don't think so," said Rabbit. "It isn't meant to be." "Oh," said Pooh. He took his head out of the hole and had another think, and then he put it back and said, "Well, you could very kindly tell me where Rabbit is. He has gone to see his friend Pooh Bear, who is a great friend of his." "But this is me," said Bear, very much surprised. "What sort of me?" "Pooh Bear." "Are you sure?" said Rabbit, still more surprised. "Quite sure," said Pooh. "Oh, well, come on in." I bet Winnie was very confused. So let's see who it is. He was right. It's Rabbit. So Pooh pushed and pushed and pushed his way through the hole, and at last he got in. "You were quite right," said Rabbit, looking at him all over. "It is you. Glad to see you." "Who did you think it was?" asked Pooh. "Well, I wasn't sure. You know how it is in the forest. One can't have anybody coming into one's home. One has to be careful. What about a mouthful of something?" Ah, Rabbit speaking Pooh's language here. Pooh always liked a little something at 11 o'clock in the morning, and he was very glad to see Rabbit getting out the plates and mugs, and when Rabbit said, "Honey or condensed milk with your bread?" he was so excited that he said, "Both." And then, so as not to seem greedy, he said, "But don't bother about the bread, please." And for a long time after that he said nothing, until at last, humming to himself in a rather stinky voice, I got up, shook Rabbit's lovingly by the paw, and said that he must be going on. So there he is. He filled up on his honey and his milk. Didn't even have any bread. Now, I tell you what's really good with honey, and that's some biscuits. My mama can cook some really good biscuits. I know that y'all can relate to that too. "Must you?" said Rabbit politely. "Well," said Pooh, "I could stay a little longer if you," and he tried very hard to look in the direction of the larder. "As a matter of fact," said Rabbit, "I was going out myself directly." "Oh, well then, I'll be going on. Goodbye." "Well, goodbye if you're sure you won't have any more." "Is there any more?" asked Pooh quickly. Rabbit took the covers off the dishes and said, "No, there wasn't." "I thought not," said Pooh, nodding to himself. "Well, goodbye. I must be going on." So he started to climb out of the hole. He pulled with his front paws and pushed with his back paws, and in a little while his nose was out in the open again, and then his ears, and then his front paws, and then his shoulders, and then... "Oh, help!" said Pooh. "I'd better go back." "Oh, bother," said Pooh. "I shall have to go on." "I can't do either," said Pooh. "Oh, help and bother." Now by this time Rabbit wanted to go for a walk too, and finding the front door full, he went out by the back door and came round to Pooh and looked at him. "Hello, are you stuck?" he asked. No," said Pooh carelessly, "just resting and thinking and humming to myself." "Here, give us a paw." Pooh Bear stretched out a paw, and Rabbit pulled and pulled and pulled. But do you think that did any well? No, I think he's stuck. "Ow!" cried Pooh. "You're hurting me." "The fact is," said Rabbit, "you're stuck." "It all comes," said Pooh crossly, "of not having front doors big enough." "It all comes," says Rabbit sternly, "of eating too much." "I thought at the time," said Rabbit, "only I didn't like to say anything," said Rabbit, "that one of us was eating too much, and I knew it wasn't me." He said, well, I shall go and fetch Christopher Robin." He's going to get Christopher Robin, everybody. To the rescue! Christopher Robin lived at the other end of the forest, and when he came back with Rabbit and saw the front half of Pooh, he said, "Silly old bear," in such a loving voice that everybody felt quite hopeful again. "I was just beginning to think," said Bear, sniffing and slightly, "that Rabbit may never be able to use his front door again, and I should hate that," he said. "So should I," said Rabbit. "Use his front door again?" said Christopher Robin. "Of course he'll use his front door again." "Good," said Rabbit. "If we can't pull you out, Pooh, we must push you back." Rabbit scratched his whiskers thoughtfully and pointed out that when once Pooh was pushed back, he was back, and of course nobody was more glad to see Pooh than he was. So still it was. Some lived in trees, some lived underground, and... "You mean I'd never get out?" said Pooh. "I mean," said Rabbit, "that having got so far, it seems a pity to waste it." They have quite the dilemma, don't they, boys and girls? Christopher Robin nodded. "Then there's only one thing to be done," he said. "We shall have to wait for you to get thin again." "How long does getting thin take?" said Pooh anxiously. "About a week, I should think." "I don't know what kind of diet plan they're on." "But I can't stay here for a week." "You can stay here all right, little silly old bear. It's getting you out which is so difficult." "We'll read to you," said Rabbit cheerfully, "and I hope it won't snow," he added. "And I say, old fellow, you're taking up a good deal of room in my house. Do you mind if I use your back legs as a towel horse?" "Because, I mean, they are there, doing nothing, and it would be very convenient just to hang the towels on them. "A week?" said Pooh gloomily. "What about meals?" "I'm afraid no meals," said Christopher Robin, "because of getting thinner quicker. But we will read to you." I don't think reading will help a hungry stomach. What do you think? Bear began to sigh and then found he couldn't because he was so tightly stuck, and a tear rolled down his eye. Oh, so sad. As he said, "Then would you read a sustaining book, such as would help and comfort a wedged bear in great tightness?" So looky there, they're reading together just like we are. So for a week, Christopher Robin read that sort of book at the north end of Pooh, and Rabbit hung his washing on the south end, and in between Bear felt himself getting slenderer and slenderer, and at the end of the week, Christopher Robin said, "Now." So he took hold of Pooh's front paws, and Rabbit took hold of Christopher Robin, and all Rabbit's friends and relations took hold of Rabbit, and they all pulled together. Now that's teamwork, boys and girls. Check that out. They are all working together. And for a long time, Pooh only said, "Ow," and "Oh," and then all of a sudden he said, "Pop," just as if a cork were coming out of a bottle. And Christopher Robin and Rabbit and all Rabbit's friends and relations went head over heels backwards, and on the top of them came Winnie the Pooh, free. All right, let's test your Winnie the Pooh knowledge. Can you name all of the different friends and relations? Let's start over here. Who's this? Oh, that's Wise Owl. Very good. Here's Rabbit. There's Kanga, the kangaroo. And then, oh, there's some more rabbits. I'm not sure of their names, but they're all in relation there. Then there's Kanga's little boy, Roo. Do you remember him? Very good. And then, oh, there's Eeyore, always looking at the glass half empty. And then there's Piglet. So they're all working together. So with a nod of thanks to his friends, he went on with his walk through the forest, humming proudly to himself. But Christopher Robin looked after him lovingly and said to himself, "Silly old bear." And there goes Winnie, back to find his honey pot. The end. Well, I hope you enjoyed that story. It's quite interesting, but I do love how they all work together to free Winnie the Pooh Bear. And always make sure that you enjoy a little bit of honey in your dinner table. Well, thank you for joining us for Storytime at Home with the Woodpeckers. Make sure that you continue sending us all of your favorite characters, literary, that you would like for us to read here on Storytime at Home with the Woodpeckers. We're here every Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Thank you for joining us, and as always, go Woodpeckers! We'll see you soon, everyone. Stay safe. Bye. Happy Tuesday,